Hey guys, welcome to Jersey Boys Outdoors. Today's episode, we're going to be doing a tutorial on how to use a baitcaster and also why use a baitcaster. The difference between a baitcaster, spinning rod. Hopefully give you a couple tips on how to successfully have fun throwing a baitcaster, not just doing it because that's what the pros do. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so the first question you might ask yourself is why use a baitcaster over a spinning rod? Spinning rods and baitcasters both have their place in the fishing world. Spinning rods to me are a little more in a bass fishing world of a finesse rod. This is what you're going to use for your drop shot, your Ned rig, anything finesse type thing like that. I like to use a spinning rod for. Baitcasters, however, it's my favorite type of reel to use on bass fishing. It's something that I love to power fish on bass fishing. That means I fish fast. Fish fast, throw a lot of top water, a lot of crankbaits, stuff like that. And your baitcaster is going to far outfish your spinning rod in that type of fishing. You can cast it a lot easier, a lot faster. On your retrieve, you can click the reel, get it out there faster, go over the spinning rod. You can cast farther. So it's just an overall better reel to use when you're power fishing. Alright guys, so this is your basic off-the-shelf. You can get any Dick's, Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's. This is a loose combo reel and rod and reel. It's a 7-foot rod with a 6:4:1 gear ratio reel. I mean, you're probably looking at $80 to $100 off the shelf. Now I got braid on here right now. Now for beginners, I would not recommend you going with braid. When you're just starting out with baitcaster, you can get a lot of backlash, a lot of different bird's nests in your reel. Mono is your friend. Mono is going to be much easier, much more user-friendly when it comes to casting a baitcaster for the first time. I use braid because it's got zero stretch, it's a stronger line, and I feel like it does give you a smoother cast. But for beginners, don't use braid. You're going to have to throw in the rod and reel in the water. Start out with a mono, and it's going to be your friend. Alright guys, so now we're getting to casting your baitcaster. And on your standard off-the-shelf combo reel, you're going to have two tension wheel. So basically the one on the left is for your major adjustment and the one on the right is for your fine tuning. So the one on the left, if you're just starting out, I put that all the way up to 10 or whatever the highest number it is, you can get it. That's the one left, honestly doesn't do a whole lot. It's the one on the right where your fine tuning really comes in. So if you watch my lure here, you're going to see it's going to drop to the ground pretty quick. Right? And if I don't stop this spool, it's going to continue to spin and it's just going to run my line into what we'll call a bird's nest or a backlash. That's going to make a big mess for me. I'm not going to have a good time fishing. But now if I take and I adjust my fine tuner on the right side here, I tighten this one up. You see I can literally stop this almost altogether from coming down. Right now, when I stop, my lure hits the water, my spool will stop spinning. That's going to save you a lot of grief. And you can actually get it all the way tightened up where it literally won't even move. Okay, and if you're just starting out, I would recommend this because this is going to give you the least amount of backlash, the least amount of trouble, and you can actually cast this, right, and not have any issues. You can cast it, it won't backlash on you, it's not going to give you any trouble. Now you're not going to get very far. That's the negative of this. The more free spinning you have, the better cast you're going to get. So you want to make sure that once you get better and get more comfortable with being able to cast with the free spool, loosen it up, loosen it up, loosen it up, and you're going to get much further cast. And you're going to be able to control it and keep your line from backlashing. Alright, so now that we got our reel adjusted the way we want to, we got our spool stopping when our lure hits the water, what we're going to do is ready to cast now. Okay, so we're going to take our thumb, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, that's up to you, but I'm right-handed, so I'm going to take it in my right hand here, right, I'm going to click the button with my thumb and I'm going to hold the spool from spinning. Okay, and then basically, if you ever use the push button, it's very similar to using a push button. What you're going to do now is you're going to take the roll over your shoulder and you're going to make sure you go out and load up that lure, right? You're going to want to use the heaviest lure you have. If you're using frog or maybe a spinner bait or something like that, the heavier the lure, the easier it's going to be to cast. All right, so you're going to take it over your shoulder, make sure you have all that weight loaded up on the back of your pole, right? And then you're going to cast. When you come forward, that's when you're going to let your thumb off of the spool, right when you're about, facing towards the sky on a nice angle like this. You're going to let go of the spool and it's going to cast out there. Okay, now right before it hits the water, you want to hit your thumb on the spool. That's going to stop your spool from spinning and keep you from getting backlashed, right? Then all you got to do is reel it in. Guys, another popular technique, what you can do with the baitcaster is called flipping or pitching. And this is something that's very popular, especially hot summer months like we're in right now. We're in July. It's about 96 degrees out here, bluebird skies. It's a great technique for when the basket's set up underneath trees or structure or something like that, and they're not firing off quite as quickly on the power fishing type techniques. This is something where it's going to be a little more of a finesse technique with a bait caster. The bait's going to land softer in the water, not spook the fish or kind of timid to bite. You'll be able to lay it right on top of their heads. And to do this technique, you're going to take basically everything I just taught you and throw it out the window. Right? You're going to basically loosen up your tension wheel all the way. You want this thing basically free spooling. Because you're not really flicking it out, you're not casting it very far. All you're doing is basically you're going to hold the bait in your hand, right? You're going to come back about even with your reel, somewhere in there, and you're going to take it and you're just going to kind of flick it out there, right? You're going to flick it right underneath that log, you're going to flick it right underneath the lily pads, right up to the grass, wherever you want to do it, and that's basically how you're going to flip it. It's super easy technique. It might take a little bit to get exactly pinpoint accuracy or anything like that, but basically you're just going to take your bait, hold it even with your reel, somewhere in there, even with your pole. Free spool wheel. Be careful with your backlash. Make sure you have your thumb ready to go at all times, and you're just going to flick it in there under the log. That's it. Alright guys, so lastly what we're going to show you is how to get rid of a backlash. Alright, if you use a baitcaster for any more than 30 seconds, it's going to happen. Even if you're experienced with them, you watch the pros, they backlash, it's going to happen. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to remove the backlash from your reel. Alright, so I'm going to intentionally get a backlash. Hopefully this works. Alright, so you see there, my lure stopped going out, it whipped back in, and I got a backlash. Alright, so now we're going to get a close-up shot here on how to remove this from your reel. Alright guys, you see what happens here when you get a backlash. You have all this line kind of double up on itself. Your spool is going to keep spinning even though your lure, you're not getting any more line to come out. It's just going to keep spinning on top of itself. And if you're using mono, it'd be a lot easier to get out. Basically all you're going to do is you're going to take your main line here, you're going to pull it all the way until you find where the knot happened. Okay, right there. So you see I got a knot here. Sometimes if you want to take the chance, you get lucky, you yank on this really hard, sometimes it comes right out. But you can also get yourself in a lot of trouble that way. But if you back it up a little bit and you find where that line is catching, right, and you just pick it out, right, you just pull that straight out. Now you're going to be able to pull, I got to pick it out a little more, it looks like. So you just grab this line in here, make sure I get this on camera, where it doubles up on itself, and just pull it up like that. You're just going to pull it up and clean it out. All right, and you're just going to take that line, and you're going to pull it straight out until you find another knot. Grab that again, pull it straight up, and work it right out. All right, don't panic if you get a backlash. It happens all the time. Now, once you get all that line back to where it's supposed to be, all right, then you're going to take, you're going to click your reel in. Make sure you hold tension on your main line while you reel all that line in. Otherwise, you're just going to get the same nightmare all over again. So you're going to hold tension on that all the way until you get to where your lure is. All right, then you can take your line off the main line, the hand off the main line, just reel it in. That's how you get a backlash out of the baitcaster. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video today. Regardless of whether you're using a baitcaster or a spinning rod, fishing's always a good time. But go ahead out there, buy yourself a reasonably priced combo baitcaster, give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. You can really fish a lot faster than you can with a spinning rod. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And if you go out and buy yourself a baitcaster, let me know. We appreciate it. See you on the next one.